Hello, my name is Sylvie Fitzgerald, and I'm the school director of Lumin Linsley Park Community School. Today we had our journey and discovery workshop with our parents, and it was well attended. We had 35 parents attend the workshop, and we had first a silent walk through the environments. We have a toddler environment, 3 primary environments, and 2 lower elementary environments. After the silent journey, we had a discussion, and then we had a hands-on session where the parents get to explore the materials, receive lessons, and experience the materials just like their child in the classroom. And then we ended up with a discussion about everyone's experience, and I hope they all enjoyed it. How did you feel about that experience of silence?
Never telling Poe to be quiet again.
Mine's not. I know, I was like, I feel like such a child. I'll be gentle. Like, no, like that's the whole
point.
It was very museum.
I was thinking like how in the base room, and then walk in and start not touching anything, and I told Alex like, how am I want to see the camera or some all these materials around and there you have and have those. And I said, I don't know how to do that. I want to transfer that home. That's a magic.
Anybody else?
I think my experience would have been changed if it had been talking, because I just was in my own head and space. Whereas if someone was doing something you're talking about, like, oh, what are they doing? Or, oh, what are they talking about? So I agree.
I can't be around me, so it did make it.
Anybody feel bored?
Towards the last part, geometries of rooms are different when you're smaller.
So why do you think this part was silent?
So you could really take everything in and get distracted.
I kind of felt at first like, why is it necessary? But as soon as we were in there, I was like, I wouldn't really be trying to look at everything.
That's
How the stuff is.
You wouldn't be as present if it wasn't
like the word she said, focus.
Where it's like the children guide their own learning and what they are interested in. And I think that kind of fostered that experience you were saying before, how to look at something you were talking to us about.
I found myself being more curious about what each thing's purpose was, the intentionality behind it. Whereas I think otherwise I could have just been like, oh, that's kind of, I really wanted to understand it more.
The environment.
I'm really curious about every age. Going through and having had kids in all those ages and seeing how the stuff carries over and then how it changes and gets a little bit more.
I found some of the last career, I just found that like you were saying earlier, like I had curiosity was driving where I was going, and I could just keep going deeper as I was getting more focused on it. But I had more noise around me and wouldn't have that clarity.
Right. So you're thinking, I'm going to go to the math and try to understand it when we.
And then what do you guys have?
I noticed less care of self as they got older, which I find interesting. Because you look at children in a grade classroom, and I taught in public for many years, and to teach a second grader in a public school how to wash their napkin or whatever, that is something they would need help with and to work on. And here, they've already outgrown that by the end of primary.
Has anybody thought about why you were not allowed to touch anything?
We don't know what we're doing yet.
But some of the work that know how to do this, and someone needs to,
So you need a lesson.
I do.
I also noticed about the classroom, there wasn't a front focal point. There's not like a board and then everybody's sitting there oriented towards that board, which I thought was cool. I noticed in the second classroom we went in, there is a projector that gives, you can see there being a space on the wall for it, but so to need a guide or to have someone teach you, at the same time, the classroom's not really set up for that.
Everybody at one time. It can be based on like their interests and their level. That's true for people all the way through life. The fact that they're not forced into the groups like regular traditional school does.
That is something that I noticed from the earlier ages older, the stations got larger. So in the toddler class, they were like 1 or 2. And then by the time we ended, I saw larger tables of maybe 6 chairs. I thought that was interesting. You account for that kind of difference as they age.
Yes. There is a developmental reason for that.
Parts of speech now observed and just reading up a storm, but you also have to look at the social development and the physical development of the child as well, so that it's not ever a matter of the child will be bored and won't have work to do. They always will.
Right.
Some of the things that you saw in the elementary are really, way up there, you know, and that's one of the things I loved about Montessori, because you never have to say to a child, well, if you want to learn about that, you'll have to wait till next year. When you go to the 3rd grade or the 4th grade, you never have to say that, because you can always go. Just everybody, have you observed in a Montessori classroom? Hold up your hand if you have observed. Okay, and then some people have not yet observed it. Because somebody said, how do you keep the children from touching things? We don't. The children touch everything. It's there for them. It's not, if it's something that can't be touched, it's not there. So when have you observed, but maybe not a toddler classroom. But I'm so excited for you all too. I mean, it's so wonderful. A wonderful thing after this is you probably had your eye on a couple of things you want to explore a little more after lunch and get your hands on it and see how it works. And what in the world is written on those mysterious cards that are turned over in the library. We get to see that. Did you have parent observations?
Oh, it opens up in 2 weeks.
So you want to sign up for that ASAP so that you can then see how things work and function when children. Totally different, right? Different from what we saw this morning, different from when we're going to have adults working in the afternoon. And so that would be a great time to observe.
They all know, they're learning the names of those reptiles. And also learning that the card and the object are similar.
And it shows
3 dimensions. Opening and closing. For 19-month-olds, for instance, you can see your fingers in different ways.
Do you remember where the basket goes?
You like to wash your window? also a communal sponge that we're using this one. That is Yes. The actual table, the table, they get behind it and grab this and towel or the mom. Yeah, normally this station is given and sometimes they
And they each only, they only get one. Yeah, much more.
They do this for a while before we start adding categories, but you can do it all the way up to, they can multiply it. I mean.
The first words. Yeah, but this is like, it's not like to hear how we word it. Yeah.
Nowadays, everything is divided. Right. So we have our numbers right. We know our three. So we have the word. So if we have more, it'll go to the next row. One of it's not. And if it is the same.
How was it? Who would like to share their experience?
I've forgotten how to do a lot of math.
I like that it was so, the math is very visual. Like you're seeing, it's not just numbers, it's you're understanding the why behind it. And I think that understanding the why behind things makes it stick more. And that's important. Make it more approachable.
I love the way with class, how she already told you, and how handle with both hands. Then
And watch. She said,
and sometimes we're like this, that we don't focus on little steps, how going so they can learning better, and how she said, well, maybe the kid is interested right now, but he never finished the whole process, and then another came, and sometimes the kid remember like, oh, I didn't finish, and coming back and finish it. So
on the steps, how do you guys break down 30 steps to tie up
Didn't you figure that out?
I got to 11.
And I was trying to follow the steps too, and I was very intentionally trying to stop myself from just doing it and actually do what the steps
Taking every
said.
step, yeah.
And I noticed, oh my gosh, we take for granted that I can just put a button through a hole and button it. But when you're two, one, the dexterity, and two, it's not just rote memorization, you learn. And then Chloe made a really good point to that same pouring. We just pick up the pitcher of milk and pour it, right? And if that's the only thing they see, and we're never intentional about, pick it up with one hand, then steady, and you don't talk while you do it, right? You just say watch, because then they're trying to listen and watch at the same time. That will overwhelm me, Mom. Stop. But if you very intentionally, then I think.
How they need to touch it. Because you don't put it just in the air, you need to touch it to the bucket and then.
Everything's so intentional.
It is
Very intentional.
And even that lemon, I used to use my hand. And it's intentional, but at the same time, they develop the more skills. Because they want to start Friday later. So they're working.
There's more than one reason.
Yeah.
So I think going back to how do you teach them to do something in 30 steps, you are doing all 30 steps. You're just doing it so fast that to break it down, you don't even think about it.
It's hard not to skip ahead. And untying it is also steps.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, does that count? 'Cause I got up to 12
And you have like open and put in, and we open one side and then the other side, not just.
And we wonder why they come home tired. Their brain is processing every single one of those little things for the first time.
Did you avoid anything?
Yes. I was boring. I don't even think I could walk. And I have myself reading the cards and starting in the middle of it and not just trying to skim it really quick because I have to review documents at work and I'm just the fastest to get the information. I slow down, read it from start to. I had to really think about that to slow down. And I think that I talk too much, and I know that. And I do things sometimes too fast. And she's never slowed down. She is always like, let me. And being to walk through, I kind of slow down and give her more time. I felt like with some of the works, she's come home even complaining that the works are really long. It takes too much time. Elementary's too long. But she's comparing it to how much time she gets at home or with video games. Stuff like that. Slowing down and doing the toddler and seeing the non-descriptive way of showing them. I think that could still be useful even in elementary. So just good reminder. Some of the things I've already learned just.
So I heard you say, yes, it's long in elementary and all that. There's a reason for all those steps, a hidden reason. If a child is able to complete all those steps, what do you think they're building? Concentration. That is an ability to concentrate. With all the chaos going around you, people doing this, talking, you can focus and finish something. That is a skill that you can use your whole life.
I avoided works that I thought I might do wrong. Even in toddler, there was a similar, and I thought, well, I don't know what lizard is supposed to go on what card. And then that leaves, even if no one else is around, I would feel vulnerable. I can't do a toddler work. I'm almost 42. That is not a comfortable feeling for an adult. So.
That one should be.
Your child is never thinks there's anything you can't do, or that he's uncomfortable. So help you protect that and keep that confidence. I heard somebody say, I don't know who it was, but I just heard in the air as I was in there, I heard somebody say, my mind is blown. Who said that and what was it? It's mind blowing.
I said it about the fractions.
Oh, fractions?
I hated math. I did not do well in math. I was always uncomfortable. And I got emotional today going, oh my gosh, my brain actually understands this. And I was talking to myself. You weren't supposed to hear it. And it's vulnerable again, right? Because all of these, I have a doctorate, by the way, so the stupid more. I was trying to figure out, so if this is 1/3, and I'm going to try and figure out 2 equal parts here. Now, how do I divide what? holy crap, I could just count the number of pieces of pie in the pie and it'll tell me what the fraction is. So 1/9 is, the pie is cut into 9 pieces. So I just kept, and I think the reason I got emotional is I thought, what would my life look like had I been taught this way? And how fortunate are our kids? And there's so many more that will never have this experience.
Oh, we wanted to.
A blessing.
We need more schools.
Yeah, I was just wondering what, if I unlearned a lot of things or if I just never learned them in the first place. Not really sure.
I thought about the same thing. In the very first part, the same thing. What would be me if they give me the freedom to go up and do whatever I want? It would be a different thing for me. Because we all come from, I guess, traditional learning where you sit and you do whatever they ask you to do. You don't go and explore whatever you feel like doing it. Here it's like, no, if you want to spend more time on that, that means like.
Yeah, I feel like something I know about myself now that I would, and I didn't like learning in school, the way that I was schooled, and I really rejected it a lot. But now I feel like Montessori, like something I noticed in Rory is like he's like that already. Like he loves to just learn whatever it is. This type of.
I think you're afraid to get things wrong, and like we learned that in traditional school very early. You're being graded and corrected, and you don't want to do something incorrectly. And that was also my like with the third book, Miss Humera's room. I like started to, and then I was like, well, I'm not really exactly sure how. I'm not sure how I'm exactly supposed to do this, and so I was just like, I'll just look at it and put it back. But I feel like with Robin, it's not. I don't know that, or she doesn't like to be wrong. I'm not going to say she doesn't like to be wrong, but I don't think that stops her from learning about things or wanting to find out things or trying things, which I didn't have. I don't think that traditional school helped me develop self-efficacy at all, and I think Montessori does. And seeing them, start a project and finish it, like a booklet or a story, and having something tangible to take. And she comes home with things that she spent multiple days on, and is so proud of it. And she came home last year with this big giant thing with all the fraction circles on it, and it's still hanging up in the playroom. And I was like, I remember learning fractions from the textbook, and there being some pictures, but just, I don't know, something about drawing it yourself that it being tangible, I think, makes it easier for them to grasp. And I hope that this will help her all through higher maths. She loves math.
I was just looking at the notes when you were saying that, and the very first one said, the child's learning begins with a concrete experience and gradually moves into abstraction. How or where is this made clear? I think that's a good example with the fractions.
And putting things, I don't know, like in the primary when they said the difference between matching and finding similarities. I didn't pick that up right away with the lizards and then the tools and stuff. And when I first approached the work with the little hammer, I was like, oh, thinking of like, how do you use this tool? And it was matching. And yeah, like I remember her coming home, sometimes they will correct me on the way that I say things. And it helps to have a better understanding. I kind of wish that there was a booklet of the way things are explained here so that I could understand, so that I saw that when she would try to explain things to me, or, oh, that's not the same thing, this is a similar thing. Like that's what she was trying to explain to me, but maybe she doesn't remember exactly how she was told it.
Write those down and bring them to your conference.
But that will also, in observation, become more clear, right? Oh, this is the concept that my daughter's bringing home and translating to how she's making the bed, but they're doing it in XYZ fashion, whatever it is. Sorry, I put my sunglasses on because I was getting a migraine from the lights, but
It's gonna look super cool in the picture.
Anybody else? Please share your skill if you want to hear.
I like that reading those cards, like when they're because my child is supposed the teacher is going to, this is the way the teacher is telling them, oh, this is how you're going to work. And the way that
I really needed this because I missed the orientation and everything, and Wyatt's, my son, it's only gone a little over 1 week full days because we started later. And I honestly had no idea what was going on here at all, and this made makes me feel to trust the process and to more confident with what is, it's beautiful. I was kind of freaked out a few days ago, just like, I don't know what he's doing, and there's no lessons, and I don't, like, how is he learning? And understanding it all.
Dads, we want to hear from you. Come on.
I was gonna say that we pick them up in the evening. We spent so much time here, but I don't know what it looks like at all. Okay. So it's cool to be able to see what their lives look like when they're here, because it's a window that
I think, well, and then our kids usually are probably like, well, what would you do today? I played with blocks. How'd you play with blocks for 7 hours? I played soccer. Well, so just to have a better understanding and see their world.
According to my daughter, she only has snacks.
And I must say, when she came home on about the metal polishing, I was like, are we training you to be a Victorian servant?
Well, and it's meeting them at their skill level, because if you give somebody in practice, oh my God, they rise to that occasion, and it doesn't feel like, you're too far out of your personal comfort zone and learning something. It's like, oh, this is something I can understand. Whereas if you're like, okay, we're practicing, can you tell someone we're practicing handwriting? It's not going to go as well as them just being like, I did such a great job polishing this work,
What was the surfing timeline? Should they trace the shape like a triangle? Anything that's close to color and shape.
That helps with staying in the line.
More about the hand movement.
The curves were very big in the beginning, and then over the years they got very small.
Like the pressure, pencil control. Gosh, so many things.
Concentration. Did anybody had an aha moment doing something and they're like, ha!
I heard that.
I heard that.
Not doing, but I noticed that the writing prompt was like, well, what if a kid just wants to do one type of thing all the time? So I noticed the writing prompt was about geometry. So I was like, okay, so I can see how they're integrating the different topics.
But isn't there something with the development in Maria Montessori's books about how they really get into, I can't remember that concept exactly, but they really get into something, and sensitive periods, thank you.
The sensitive period, yes. Children are sensitive to the sensitive period for
learning a skill,
and that's when the child learns easily. If you give that lesson, the child will, at that moment, it's easiest for the child to pick it up than if you do it later.
Like language. So, what were you saying? Who were you saying their child spoke English? What was it? Somebody was telling me just today. Anyway, it's so much easier to learn a language under the age of 6. After the age of 6, you practically always end up with an accent. That way of learning.
You absorb it.
My daughter, I do not speak Spanish. I learned it and some of it in college, and of course I would use it every day, so I can't speak it a whole lot. But my daughter, when she was in toddler, her toddler guy was a Spanish speaker. And so there's a song that they sing when they hurt themselves that she would sing, and it's a sana. And so I would hurt myself, and she'd come and she'd say, oh, and she'd sing it, and I was just like, oh my goodness. In my parent conference, I was like, what is that? And she sang the whole song for me, and she said it means this and this and this. And my daughter is now 26, and we went to party one evening, and it was like lots of salsa. She still can pick up words. She's like, oh, they're singing about somebody that did this and this and this and this. I mean, we have none of that at home. So that all came from when she was a toddler, under 3, that she held on to that.
You still sing that song?
That's so sweet. I'm still waiting.
So you were telling me about a dad that gravitated to the art projects in every environment. So there's some dad in here that has a latent artistic interest.
I think it was you.
Yeah, I was saying that Patrick was avoiding all of the math, and I said, well, in every environment, he's gravitated towards the like a puzzle or art, drawing or so you're making a frog book. You want to do math? You said, no, I'm making. It was just cool to see, you know, as adults, even we all have natural inclinations to focus somewhere, and it's great that our children get to do that themselves.
Any questions for the teachers? You had them. This is your chance.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Seeing the classroom after, I mean, like I did the conference, like meet parent, all that, but then seeing it after, the little bits and pieces we get from Arlo and being able to like see what he works on, the pouring work. He talks about it all the time. He tries to pour out sugar at restaurants, but seeing actual, like, it's little tiny pictures. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but like, I'm like, okay, this is not anything extravagant, but he loves it. And just like seeing some of the things he does.
There are a lot more people because of works like that.
Yeah.
My daughter.
Somebody was talking about they were like worried that they might make a mistake or do something wrong. And that reminded me of watching you with the cylinder blocks. What is it about the material? I mean, you got to the end.
Sam wanted to try it because B was obsessed with it when we did the classroom tour. It was the thing that she immediately went towards. And the whole time we were chatting, she was very engaged with it. So I wanted to do it myself.
So you did it? And you guys
She goes, did I get it all?
So, but nobody had to tell, nobody said you did it wrong because you saw that yourself.
Yeah.
You fixed it.
Yeah.
Checking your own work is another like great thing. I feel like with Montessori. And I thought anxiety.
You have to develop a friendly relationship with error.
Yes.
Because error, I mean, if we all knew how to do every single thing perfectly, what would that be? You know? Error is how we learn, right?
Yes.
Earlier, how I'm gonna not do it right, and the teacher's not around, and if I do it wrong, then they're gonna tell me it's wrong, right? Or like I'm gonna get graded, but our children have the opportunity to experience the natural consequence. And I can't remember the term, but it's like the self-correcting.
Self-correcting.
Yes, where it's that intrinsic, not only are they following the intrinsic desire, but then their guides are not there to grade them because materials do it, and so then they get to self-correct it without hearing it from someone else, and so then they also develop this really special relationship with their guides. Where it's like, oh, you're here to help me, not to judge me and grade me.
Yes.
To piggyback on that, I think I also realized that, and then immediately my next thought was, I wasn't brought up that way. You know, it was definitely the more traditional, you've done it wrong, I'm going to show you how to correct it. So then internally in my mind, I kind of was sitting with myself to be like, okay, what do I do? Because she's getting this environment during the day, which I'm so happy about. And I try and be, in general, I try to be really intentional about what I'm modeling for her, but because I was taught a different way, and I know I'm a perfectionist, and I am scared of, and I still struggle with error, it made me sit with, you know, okay, what of that is she absorbing from me and just like our daily personal at-home life? Just, you know, thinking about that, kind of giving that new perspective. I don't want her to absorb all of that. So
I think that's cool because just being aware of something is 90% of it.
Yeah. And she's just like my little mini me right now, so everything I do, she does. So, but in general, this was super enlightening because my little one can't communicate yet. She's 22 months, and so I have no idea. When I drop her off, I basically ask the teacher, you know.
She's here in toddler?
Yeah, she's very young, and so seeing this is just so informative because the language is not there.
I really love it when y'all do the most. Always kind of that also. Like I said before, my daughter's been here for several years, but I feel like when I come to these events, it helps me remember things that I like, I'll implement them because it's so hard to unlearn or to like do differently than how you're brought up. And so we're trying to do very differently than how we were raised. And it helps like a reminder, or if we're struggling with something that we didn't have an issue with before. And I think that helps build the community. Like definitely, we feel very supported by the school, I guess.
The observations are
and the observations.
Watching all this different stuff going on. I've been all day and watching. The beginnings of this journey discovery experience started because the teachers wanted to share with the joy of what they get to see every day with your children that you don't get to see.
So everyone, thank you so much for spending the day with us. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. This was great.
Thank you.